It all started on an unexpectedly warm afternoon in early spring when the flowers were beginning to bloom and the air carried the scent of renewal and possibility. Madison arrived at Lauren's house feeling lighter than she had in weeks, her stressful workload finally easing enough to allow her some breathing room. She had been looking forward to this visit, eager to catch up with her best friend, whose vibrant energy always felt like a balm for her soul. Lauren's home was a sprawling estate, an old-world structure with ivy creeping up its stone walls and a sprawling garden that seemed to stretch endlessly. Madison parked her car at the edge of the driveway and stepped out, letting her heels click softly against the cobblestones as she made her way to the front door. The massive oak door was slightly ajar, the sound of classical piano music filtering out into the warm afternoon. She knocked lightly before pushing the door open, stepping into the cool, dimly lit foyer. The scent of fresh lilies greeted her, a constant in Lauren's house. "Lauren?" Madison called out, her voice echoing slightly in the cavernous space. There was no answer, only the distant sound of the piano. She stepped further inside, her heels muted now against the plush Persian rug. She had just set her purse down on the entryway table when she heard a voice, smooth, rich, and unmistakable. "Lauren isn't home yet, but she told me you might arrive early. Would you care for something to drink while you wait?" Madison turned to see Olivia, Lauren's mother, descending the grand staircase. Olivia was a vision of effortless elegance, her dark hair swept into a loose chignon and her almond-shaped eyes framed by expertly applied eyeliner. She wore a flowing silk blouse paired with tailored slacks, her outfit striking the perfect balance between sophistication and comfort. Despite her polished appearance, there was something about Olivia that always felt disarmingly approachable, as though she had mastered the art of making everyone feel instantly at ease. Madison smiled, her nerves easing slightly at the warm reception. "A drink sounds lovely, thank you," she replied. Olivia gestured for Madison to follow her into the sitting room. A sunlit space with floor-to-ceiling windows that offered a stunning view of the garden. Madison took a seat on the plush sofa while Olivia moved to the bar cart in the corner. She returned moments later with 2 glasses of chilled white wine, handing one to Madison before settling into the armchair across from her. "Lauren mentioned you've been working nonstop lately," Olivia said, her tone conversational yet attentive. "I hope you're taking some time for yourself." Madison laughed softly, taking a sip of her wine. "I'm trying, but it's easier said than done. Work has been demanding." Olivia nodded sympathetically, her gaze never wavering. "You're too young to let stress consume you. Life is meant to be enjoyed, not just endured." Madison felt a warmth spread through her at Olivia's words, a reminder she hadn't realized she needed. There was something about the way Olivia spoke, the way her words carried a weight of lived experience, that made Madison want to lean in and absorb every piece of wisdom she had to offer. As their conversation continued, Madison found herself opening up in ways she hadn't anticipated. She talked about her career ambitions, her fears of failure, and the pressure she often felt to prove herself. Olivia listened intently, her expressions shifting seamlessly between empathy and encouragement. There was a depth to their interaction that Madison found both comforting and exhilarating. A connection she hadn't expected to form with Lauren's mother. At some point, the sun began to dip lower in the sky, casting a golden glow over the room. Olivia leaned forward, her gaze soft yet piercing. "You're an incredibly bright and beautiful young woman, Madison," she said, her voice low and deliberate. "Don't let anyone or anything dim your light." Madison felt her cheeks flush at the compliment, her heart pounding in her chest. Before she could respond, Olivia reached out, her fingers brushing lightly against Madison's cheek. The touch was brief, almost imperceptible, but it sent a jolt of electricity through her body. "I hope I'm not being too forward," Olivia said, her hand retreating as quickly as it had come. "I just think it's important to remind people of their worth." Madison shook her head, her voice barely audible as she replied, "You're not being forward." "It's nice to hear." The moment hung between them, heavy with unspoken tension. Madison's mind raced, her thoughts a whirlwind of emotions she couldn't quite pin down. She had always admired Olivia, but this was different. This felt charged, alive, and completely unexpected. The sound of a car pulling into the driveway shattered the moment, snapping both women back to reality. Olivia smiled, her expression returning to its usual warmth. "That must be Lauren," she said, rising from her chair. "I'll let you two catch up." Madison watched as Olivia left the room, her graceful movements captivating even in their simplicity. She took a deep breath, trying to steady herself as the weight of what had just transpired began to settle. Over the next few weeks, Madison couldn't shake the memory of that afternoon. Her interactions with Olivia replayed in her mind like a film reel, each detail magnified and analyzed. She found herself looking forward to her visits to Lauren's house with an intensity that surprised her, her anticipation fueled by the possibility of seeing Olivia again. And when those moments came, when Olivia entered the room and their eyes met, Madison felt her heart leap in a way she couldn't explain. Their conversations grew deeper, their connection more undeniable. Each interaction seemed to blur the lines of propriety further, until one evening when the tension between them reached its breaking point. Lauren had left to run an errand, leaving Madison and Olivia alone in the house. They were sitting in the living room, the soft glow of the fireplace casting dancing shadows across the walls. Olivia poured them each a glass of wine, her movements unhurried as she settled onto the sofa beside Madison. The space between them felt charged, the air heavy with anticipation. "You've been quiet tonight," Olivia observed, her gaze steady as she handed Madison her glass. Madison hesitated, her fingers brushing against Olivia's as she took the glass. "I've just been thinking," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "About what?" Olivia asked, her tone gentle, yet probing. Madison's heart raced as she searched for the right words. "About us," she finally said, her eyes meeting Olivia's. The admission hung in the air, its weight pressing down on both of them. Olivia set her glass down on the coffee table, her movements deliberate as she turned to face Madison fully. "And what have you been thinking?" she asked, her voice low and steady. Madison swallowed hard, her nerves threatening to overwhelm her. "That I feel something when I'm with you," she confessed. "Something I can't ignore." Olivia's expression softened, her hand reaching out to rest gently on Madison's. "You're not alone in that," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I've felt it too." The distance between them seemed to disappear in an instant as Olivia leaned in, her lips capturing Madison's in a kiss that was both tender and electrifying. The world seemed to fall away as their connection deepened, their hands exploring the contours of each other's faces as the kiss intensified.